Hello, hello, hello. Nice to see you all. Nice to see you here. Welcome. I'll just hang around just for a couple of minutes, just for people to join. Brilliant. There's some good numbers coming up. Thank you very much. Total 6 with us at the moment. Welcome. What a week. What a week. It feels like football occurred probably a month ago. Does it feel like that? It just feels so long ago that that's happened. Things have certainly happened since and discussed about. All these chat shows love having these really sort of sensitive conversations and chats and debates, and I think we all go around in circles. And what a day today it's been. I've been out in the garden with the laptop, got so much done an article for the Moorland newspaper, which did a really good article on my first book, which was really good, Farms and Fatals. And they've asked for an article on the Cornish Scoop, which is this one here. And just to say, somebody who's Adrian says, evening, Harry, get in early. Any plans to timescales for the audio version of the Cornish Scoop? Thanks for showing your interest there. Hey, am I looking like I've got a bit of a tan? I think so, maybe. Not that I'm vain, of course. And I've got this weird shirt, haven't I? I know, I ordered it. I'm not sure it's me. Votes on whether it's me, Y or an N. I'm not sure about the Y, but I like I'm a Formula One fan. I like the old 50s, is it 50s type racing stuff. White makes me look like a little bit of what are those really old, what are they, Quakers, like a Quaker, you know. Anyway, I've probably offended Quakers now. Anyway, so to answer your question, Adrian, thank you for your question, Adrian, as the politicians say. Yeah, audio. I did my audio on Farms and Fatals. I sold shed loads of those audios. It's really, really successful. So it's really good doing. It takes a lot of work because you do your recording and it's got to be quite quiet outside. So I tended to do it in the evening. And do you know what? I tended to do them because I haven't got sound booths and stuff. I was recommended to do it in a car with soundproofing and then put pillows by the glass or whatever. So it was the evening when it cooled down. And then all the motorbikes had sort of stopped racing around the streets and things. But then you get it on the software. So, and that, you know the bits with the old software bits, and you cut out all the little dinks and the coughs and the bits where you messed up, and it takes forever. So I'm just going to see if it looks like the sales are going really well, then I'll do it. No, bit at the moment, because the problem we've got with a novel, it's just so difficult, so different from Farms and Fatals. It's going brilliant for what me, old Joe Blogs with no publisher, has got it off the shelves, and it's going really well. But without a heavy company behind pushing the advertising, getting it into Tesco's and getting it onto, Book of the Week and the radio and whatever, you do struggle. So that's the honest truth. That's completely honest with you. I'm seeing whether it's going to be worth it. Okay, don't say you didn't get honest from me. Okay, so thanks for that, Jackie. Thank you, Jackie Stevens. It is Jackie. Oh yeah, it is Jackie Stevens. Nice. Thank you for coming back. Yeah, it's been a really good day. I think we're good for a week now, aren't we? Plenty of things have happened. Oh, I had your uniform fitting for Aiden's Somerset yesterday. Very proud moment. Very surreal. 14 years after my first application. What? There's a story there, Adrian. Wow, what happened after the first time? He continues, was amazed to find out that once bodily fluids have got on your vest, it's thrown out and replaced. How many vests have you gone through in your career? I probably didn't report it. I didn't. If it was really bad and it was blood and whatever, then you can save, because with the arm response, you save the actual ballistic pads, because you get plates when you think, oh, I'm going to a really bad one here, high velocity rifles, I'll stick the plates in. But for general everyday, it was still 15 kilos to just have the pads, the Kevlar pads. So you would have taken those out, saved an awful lot of money, and you could have replaced the other stuff. But it didn't happen too often. To be honest, bodily fluids, I mean, even the CPRs I didn't have much bodily fluids involved. So, and I had a little bit of, I mean, what they used to say is, yeah, take it home and put it in a boil wash. And we're like, what? I'm not having that. So to answer your question, Adrian, I think you'll find I don't remember replacing it at all. Just washing it as normal, basically. And I think that's generally goes for all. But I mean, if it was covered in blood, yeah, you're right. What would go in a hazchem bag, one of the yellow ones, send it off to thingy and they burn it. Oh my God, Thomas. We've got a massive influx of cops everywhere. Good news, me as well. I've got my uniform fitting on Tuesday. Fantastic stuff. Congratulations with that. Adrian, you can settle back and relax. I wanted to bring this up actually, because this has just come on the internet recently, and this is madness at Chest Hunt Station. It's from London and UK Crime. They're really good, actually. They come up with some good stuff. I was just going to discuss this a little bit, really. This is a relatively common event if you are dealing with generally, I was going to say scrotes. I've said it's too late now. Little criminals and things like that. I'm not going to talk about the actual particular incident because it's an ongoing investigation. They're looking for the driver. I'm not going to assume what the vehicle is, whether it's stolen, whether it's just full of drugs or stolen gear. You can assume any of the above, but I'm not going to influence that in any way. So I'm not sub judice in that side of things. But this is a sort of safety side of things that came up. And it's interesting. I'll just let it run through first of all. See what you think. Two police officers trying to get the driver out of the car. One police officer, female, runs free. One police officer trapped. Fortune, and then he rolls away from the car. Smashed into another car. Not going any further that way. Goes forward. Beep, beep, beep. And the cafe's open. And there's a sort of everything okay, that side of things. So then they're just making sure that everyone at the scene is safe, car's gone. I see it was a traffic car there. I don't know if they had taser. I didn't know if, yes, the answer to that is in those situations, somebody's in charge of a lethal weapon. It's a vehicle, mechanically propelled vehicle, made or adapted for use on the road, still there, still got it. And they're trying to resist and get away. Yes for taser, no for Glock, because you're not in imminent danger of your life. I assume they didn't have taser there. Someone's just going to actually zoom in and say, look, there's a taser here. It's that sort of real dominance, get control, get them out. Whether he's a hardened criminal, whatever, used to this stuff, knows that the criminal justice system is pretty weak, and therefore what's the deterrent to try to get away? How much do they get extra? That's the problem. And that's where they talk about, rehabilitation doesn't work. Yeah, I know, but it gets them off the street, so they're not doing that to your family next time. And that's the key thing. Rehabilitation is a bonus. It's a bonus. It's not a be-all and end-all. And only people who want to be rehabilitated can be rehabilitated. So prison is not a path for rehabilitation, full stop. It's also to keep nasty people off the streets, to give us all a break from them for a while. So that's what I think on that side of things. But then what do I know? So I think it's a common thing. What I would do then, you used to and experienced that side of thing, did pretty well. The female was absolutely right there. Doors open. Never lean through an open window of a car or someone's in there. Somebody is saying, police officers rubbish nowadays. What do you want them to do? He's strapped in. He's wedged in. You try to get someone out of the car who doesn't want to get out. It's difficult. And especially, I don't know what size the guy is. I'm assuming it's a guy. There you go. There's stereotyping for you, but I bet I'm right. But it just shows, doesn't it? It's wedged in there, not going out, handing onto the wheel, not being pulled out. So those lemmings who say, what a load of rubbish police officers nowadays, they can't even get him out of the car. Shut up and go away. You have no idea what it's like. They've got their baton. They're ready. They actually start trying to batten the glass, which is good. It's good distraction. It's sometimes to craze the windscreen so that they can't see where they're going, which could have an alternative effect, but actually it's quite useful as well. You just got to play it by ear on that side of things. But open door so you can pull yourself away. Getting stuck there, and I don't know if he was grabbed in or was grabbing onto the offender when he was driven back. That's hyper dangerous, and nano far away from being critically injured, killed on that, because if that car hadn't been there to stop him, he could have gone full speed ahead, right back into a lamppost, taking the door off, or he just spins off when it's just going too fast, and then you hit hard objects when you're rolling away as a pedestrian out of a car, then you're a whole host of trouble. So, I mean, that was a lucky one. That was a lucky one. Then we just see, where did this person go after this? Hey, I'm just going to bring it here. We're going to bring it back here a minute. And he's going onto the railway line, why don't you? And he's driving down the railway line, and you can just see the actual pedestrian with a dog here going, here, what's going on there then? You shouldn't be doing that, should they, Agatha? Look. Sorry if you're the crucial witnesses and I've just ridiculed you. But I'm not in the police anymore, so I can do that. And it's done with all the charm and love that I can possibly mean. Wow, there's a bit of text here. I'm going to see if it's a rollicking, first of all. Or, right. Right. Yeah. Thank you, Daniel. For me, the uniform fittings when it became real. Yeah, because you actually feel a bit of a fraud sticking on a uniform for the first time. I remember it thinking, should I be wearing this? Just about to go out on the first tutor period after first block of training. Really looking forward to getting out. That's when it gets exciting, isn't it? And you're walking around and you think everyone's looking at you going, they know all the answers. And just remember, Adrian, if they ask you awkward questions, just take the name and address and then find them, and then you can get back to them. That's what you need to do. So you don't need to panic thinking, I don't know all the details, all the information. Jackie, obviously, is Chestnut. Where were you at the particular time, Jackie? This is what I want to know. Were you in the vicinity of the vehicle being stopped by? Was it a woman indeed? I wonder. Perhaps not. Horrendous incident. Hoping everyone was okay. Yeah, it looks like people got away with it, didn't they? Now I know Ken. Ken joining us. Ken, you have got such a strong Irish accent. It's very difficult to understand what you say. I mean, it is the strongest Irish accent in the world. I love Ken to bits. He was a super duper, am I allowed to say, you were a very high-ranking police officer at one point, having been involved in a fight in the back of an armoured car. Well, he's giving it away there, really, because otherwise he's the criminal, which would be bad, where the detained person bit me. Then he got my .357 Magnum out my holster. That's a bad thing to happen. What saved me is my colleague grabbed the cylinder. This resulted in a 3-mile car fight. Blood everywhere. Thank goodness he wasn't HIV. That is a quiet day at the office there, Ken. Ken, every story you tell me, which is undoubtedly true because you just get yourself into the thick of everything, and it's Northern Ireland. Australia, they're not, it's not too soft over there, is it? A friend of mine, in fact, it's just like you can make a film out of every story Ken tells me. It's unbelievable. There's another colleague of mine who's in Devon Cornwall Police. He did his public order training in Northern Ireland. And he's driving along and he can hear this like on the side of the van. He's like, what's that? He's, oh, yeah, we just get shot at now and then. He just hits the side of the armoured van. Incredible. Just another day at the office. Hello. Thank you. Monica watching. Thank you very much, Monica. Tom, I'm glad Tom has a lot of time for the police. Yeah, they do. Police officers nowadays face many scary situations. Many thanks to them keeping it. Do you know what? I think the problem isn't the many scary situations. I think that's always happened. Excuse me, refreshment break. Advert. It's just the backup from the police. I think that's the thing. And this is, you can get onto controversial subjects like taking a knee. Did I say that? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Okay, but this is what the problem has occurred with the football. The football, I think, at the moment, I'm just going to say how the facts are that there's sort of, I think, 3 types of people, right? I'm just dying across this because I did say I was going to speak about this a little bit. It's a very sensitive subject, so I've got to be careful what I say because otherwise I'll be misquoted. It's almost like I need a page of terms and conditions, and it shouldn't be like this. It should be an open conversation. But the problem is with the football. Now, I don't know about the booing or not because you speak to some footballers and they go abroad and it's almost like a tradition rivalry. There's no menace in it. You're just trying to put the other team. I don't know. I'm not really a football, so I don't know if it's really rude or not. I think a lot of people like me who go to football for the first time probably a little bit shocked about it, think that's a bit rude. Or, you know, and of course, when it's taking the knee, you think, oh, if that's a bit racist. Or is it the fact taking the knee means various things to various people, okay? First of all, taking the knee, you get booed because you're racist, you're an idiot, and you just want to be a pain all your life and be racist, right? Let's get that one out of the way, because there's a few of those about. As we found out from Saka and the other two brilliant footballers who are giving our generation of footballers such a boost, and the horrendous racism after that, without a doubt. I think a lot of it, I think they were saying, and it's from Prime Minister, said they worked out was coming from abroad, but there's certainly enough of our own as well, isn't there? So that's got to be sorted. There's other people who see taking the knee as that it's related to the Black Lives Matter. And I have got something to say about that side of things, because Black Lives Matter, to me, if you taking the knee, originated from an American football player called, and he was called Colin Kaepernick. Sorry about pronunciation, don't know, but it was in 2016. And it was in relation to calling attention to issues of racial inequality and police brutality. Now, I'm not here to give a defense for the American policing system, but the statistics I see don't show the level of police shootings that is proclaimed, strangely enough. Now, whether they've got, obviously, we've got to say it, haven't we? Because it's clearly true. There's obviously racism, and there's obviously your bent cops, and there's obviously that side of things. But then you look at the facts and the statistics. Again, I'm not going to defend them, but what I am going to do is defend our British policing, because the Black Lives Matter the UK Black Lives Matter, they were very loud and clear with their protests, and the public got riled up. And I saw their manifesto as such. I saw their website, and I actually screenshot it and stuck it on my Twitter, because it said they didn't want to defund it in the UK. They wanted to abolish the police. And you could say, well, okay, they want to fill the place with social workers. I don't know who's going to get people off the bridge at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. But you'll need 4 times as many staff to deal with the police officers. Because guess what? Police officers are so versatile. You can use them for everything. You use them for a murder, a road traffic collision, or a mental health. Whereas if you get private sector and you get social workers and you buy more community workers and you pay for more of the others, they can't do each other's job. Do you know what I mean? So you need sort of 3 or 4 times. So it's utter poppycock. Then the Black Lives Matter were creating these marches, and they were quite vicious marches in front of police officers saying, you know, you murderers, shame on you, murderers. And so I looked at the statistics, and it contained a lot of people that were just very ordinary people. And it's almost like they need a crusade. You know, we need something. This was all last year, and you had young, rather naive, middle class a lot of the time. There was a lot of university students, and they were in the front line. This was what made me angry, is that they were shouting in the face of these police officers who did 1,000 times more things than those students did, who were being looked after by mummy and daddy so they could go to university and get a nice degree. That made me very frustrated. So I looked at the details, and even the activists, the Black Lives Matter activists, and they were creating a lot of this big wave of support. The media were terrified. They didn't challenge any of it because they would have got cancelled, or their advertising would have pulled, because it was very much then. And this is where we need to remember this for the future. If the situation is discussed in detail, then you're accused of racism, and that's not helpful. That is divisive. It's not bringing communities together. It's not treating people as individuals. Your argument doesn't count. If you don't agree with me, you're racist. And that has to stop, in my view, if we want open and frank discussions. 16 people died in police custody last year. 1 was black. But if you were to show, and that is, I don't know, it's usually for like drug overdoses. When you think there were 600,000, nearly 700,000 arrests in the UK every year. And they're the most vulnerable, they're the most dangerous, they're the most, they can be suicidal, under the influence of drugs, alcohol. And each one has to be assessed very quickly before they're then processed to go to hospital, to go in custody. Right, there's so a third of those are for violent offences. So a lot of Black Lives Matter and these other external sort of the ones who were sisters, forget what they called for the vigil, but they were saying this is the list of all the police that murdered. And I just want to inform you. So that would have been one of those that were supposedly murdered. Somebody who had probably swallowed drugs, it had broken in their stomach. They showed a reaction that was very quick. Let me just show you as well, is if somebody is involved in a fight and has a bleed on the brain, they're arrested because they're involved in that fight. They're brought into the police station. They're very carefully placed into the cells. They are then, it's all CCTV. Everything is CCTV, okay? They're placed in the cells, and then the checks. The police officers come around to check their condition. Oh, he doesn't look good. Goes to hospital via ambulance. He dies 4 days later. That's a death in police contact. That is a death. Now, that would be on the list of the police murdering these individuals. This was the sort of propaganda that was going round. And have you noticed now that I think one of the last Black Lives Matter who were Marxist, if you look at the definition, they are Marxist. They are against the Western world's view. This is all written down. I'm not making this up. This is fact. So you argue with me all you like, but this is fact. They were against the nuclear family. They don't believe in the husband, wife, the children situation, the family situation. So, but people weren't allowed to argue about that, and they got confused. But now, have you noticed with the latest protests with Black Lives Matter, they were very small. They literally got about 100 people. So my lesson, my thing is, please everyone remember this in the future, because this will happen again. And with such an emotional subject, such as race, such as racism, it needs to be tackled head on, but in the right way. And to be honest, I'm totally confused about the knee thing, because for me, it was the Black Lives Matter instigated into the UK, made such a big thing of it about this is what you need to do for the George Floyd sort of thing. This is what you need to do, show your allegiance against racism. But that was the veneer. And if you didn't do that, then you were in trouble side of things. So we need to remember that, because it was all written in their manifesto. It was all written there for everyone to see. And we need to start treating everyone as individuals again. And yes, understand our own individual needs. And for God's sake, don't, racism, one thing, but even to give someone, a 19-year-old who stood up for his country in the middle of the world to take a penalty, they got bigger balls than I ever have. Let me tell you that now. So anyway, that's my lecture over. This is what I really wanted to say, is because I think a lot of those students went, I tell you what, I'm just going to Google. Oh, they're not on those protests anymore, because they suddenly realized what they were supporting, and it was not nice in relation to the Western world's viewpoint on what is a civilized society. When that claim by the Black Lives Matter activists were not, it's all for equality and diversity, it was to rule, to overcome. It's all on the internet by representatives, leaders. So I think, anyway, we've moved on from that. And I think this is a good time to start again. But I think this bickering over the knee, I don't know anymore. It's uncomfortable for me to see it, because I relate it to my colleagues and those officers who are brothers, sons, fathers, daughters, mothers, police officers doing their job, doing the best they can, being shouted and spat at in the face and injured and thrown things at, and basically despised for a whole year, until the media suddenly felt a little bit more comfortable. And usually Black Lives Matter, the logos on the football shirts sort of disappeared. It just disappeared, because suddenly they realized what they were. So let's go for everything else. I don't know about the knee or not. I'm confused by it now. They do it in Formula One. Half of the drivers stand, half of them kneel. And there is that other argument, is what do you do? When do you actually stop doing it? Do you do it forever? Because when you stop doing it, you're saying, oh, race doesn't matter anymore. It is a thing where they think that. So anyway, that's my lecture. A bit of a controversial one today, I guess. But I needed to get that off. Not get it off my chest. I just thought, if I'm going to do this, it's no good talking about fluffy stuff all the time. And you've got officers who are joining the police. And I think it's just really important to actually talk about those uncomfortable subjects, and go from there. Right, who have we got? Be interesting to see shows who were dealing with Big Steve high on the spice and cocaine at 3 a.m. while you're swinging around a butcher's knife. I'm sure there's a couple of social workers who are probably used to dealing with that side of things. But it's that's the thing, you see. A police officer is completely versatile. You know, it's like, oh, Harry, where are you going? Oh, I'm just going to do a bit of patrol on the motorways. I'm looking for drink drivers coming down with drug deal. Oh, no, I need you here. Bit of public order in town. We need you to support the resources in town. Okay, I'll do that. Well, you can't do it. So it will cost you so much more money. And this is the problem I've got. You've got people with such influence who haven't a clue what they're talking about. And they're given, you know, it's like my truth is the truth. Here, let me show you this. Now, this looks like the most boring thing. Yes. Yeah, it's that's guts, isn't it? It's showing the Black Lives Matter didn't mention the sad death of the first Black British policewoman. Right. I think the point of that, though, is the first Black British policewoman. That's courage, isn't it? I mean, that is courage. What a woman! What a woman to go in not only a man's world but a white man's world, and go in there is all those years ago when things were far, far worse than they are now. For goodness sake, for racism and things. All the respect in the world. Couldn't believe it. Right. Let me show you this. Right. This is voted the most boring screen in the world. Yeah. It looks so boring. But let me show you. This is useful stuff for you. So this is part of the police chiefs, right? And they're suggesting all forces adopt. So they've got a fair bit of power. They've got a lot of influence to say, okay, this is the time. You know the dash cam footage when you see someone overtaking on solid white lines. And some forces are very good. Devon and Cornwall's very good. They've got an app that you just sign on and you just send your information across. And this is just the protocols for it. So every force should be doing this now. It should be simple. It should be it should be an easy app to use. And in a modern world, we need it, don't we? We need it so it's easy, so it's not a postcode lottery as to whether you can get that idiot prosecuted or not, because he's just driven on the opposing side of the traffic, round a blind bend when it could have been your son or daughter coming the other way. And this is brilliant. And when you think about it, you've got less police patrols. So these dash cam footages are another police patrol, aren't they? So when you say, yeah, okay, as somebody, we're all guilty of doing a mistake when you've just sort of, oh God, you know, shouldn't have done that. Came out the junction, car was going a bit faster than I thought. You know, of course I never have, but we've all done it. And so we don't want to be stupid about it. We don't want to be silly, because then you have to look on yourself, put yourself in the mirror and go, you've never done that. Never done that. But when you see something that is absolutely blatant and dangerous, then good stuff. That should be pushing it. Check your own force websites to see whether they've got that, whether you can efficiently put your dash cam footage. I've lost the use of speech now. About bull crowds and what you think of them cause. I heard of it. Right. I just need to read. Tom, I hope you probably have about a show about football crowds and what you think of them, because I heard you have police that. Yeah, I did police them, but mine was sort of Plymouth, and it was Plymouth Exeter, New Stoke. When you know, not nearly as big as these massive things. But remember as well that the police were blamed again. You know, it didn't take long before I think one of the newspapers said that everyone's blaming, or they didn't say they were, but all the FA or whatever were blaming the police and all that. Just remember that the police didn't do nothing. 59 of them got injured and 86 were arrested. 86 people were arrested. You don't see much of that on TV. There are only so many police there are anyway. And remember as well, it's private location Wembley, so it's the access is completely stewards. It's inside stewards. Sometimes they actually provide police officers as an addition. Certainly did in my day. But you know, you're making the money on the tickets. Why are the taxpayer paying? So the police tend to police the outside skirmishes and stuff. Horrendous, wasn't it? Didn't it make you embarrassed to be British? But then it was only a few idiots. Remember, it's only a couple of hundred idiots who are doing that, and we must remember the general good you start looking at it and think, oh, everyone thinks Britain's like that. We're not like that. There's these idiots who are shown all around on social media, and and so they should be. But I really hope they deal with them harshly. Criminal justice system, can you just show some balls and just deal with people robustly, please? It puts them off and gives us a break. Can do support our police officer. Yes, there is, Nikki. I can't wait to do it. I'll freak them out completely. If you see them and you see them having a coffee in a coffee shop or something, you have no idea what they've just been to, and you don't know. I know when I would just think, yes, sometimes it was a dull shift, so nothing was happening. It was a night shift or whatever. I was like, should we go for a coffee? Yeah, we'll go for a coffee. And you say, oh, 3-2, are you about? Yeah. Are you free? Yeah. Should we meet up at McDonald's for a coffee? Yeah. Coffees are cheaper for cops. They're free. The coffees are free, actually, most of them. I think it's franchise. I think it's generally all of them or most of them. So they do. And but I mean, if they're in so you can't buy a free coffee there because it's free for them anyway. But my point is just have a chat. Say it's good to see you about, and if somebody is buying something, I'm going to say, oh, can I buy his coffee for him, please? I'll buy that coffee for him. Oh, totally embarrass them. They don't know what to do with themselves, but they will love it, and it will go around like wildfire. I was in a shop, and they suddenly realised, do you know what? There's public out there who would quite like us. And we do need reminding of that now and then. And it's just, and the best thing is sometimes you can put yourself out so much for someone, and you don't receive anything, you don't expect anything. And sometimes you just did something that was very minor, and you get a lovely letter of thanks. Well, those go on your files, and those go on your personal file, and then you go to your supervisor, because they go through the police force. Don't do it to the officer, do it to the force headquarters. Just get the collar number of the officer, say what they did. If you've got a log number, and just say, thanks, they were brilliant. Means the world. That's the sort of things you can do. Thank you very much. Yeah, yes, I did see about the guy on the tube. Yeah, I mean, you'll see a lot on. I'm just going to wind it up shortly because it's 1:30. Thank you. To 34 views on my thing. So I do because I'm on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at the moment. See, my Facebook page is Harry Tangye Facebook page now. I've got and yeah, YouTube channel is Harry Tangye YouTube channel, but. Yeah. Daksha Patel, thank you very much. Racism is about education, the understanding between brown, black, white, or on skin color, but also about culture, religion, and how one is. Absolutely. Our cultures are different. We should embrace and understand that, but one culture shouldn't be a detriment to another culture. There's lines that need to be drawn. And there's a big discussion from people way above me that should come to a conclusion on that. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So there's YouTube sites and things like that. Right. I just want to show one more thing coming up on Frontline Chat. I've got Rhys Dinsdale. He was the nasty character on Emmerdale recently. And he got a load of abuse on social media because people are a bit stupid and they start thinking that he's the character, that's generally him, and they take it out on the Twitter. It's unbelievable. He was Coronation Street. He's done a load of theatre stuff as well, but he's done films. He was in a cult movie called ID, and so he played an undercover cop. Must have been back in the 80s or something. And he was undercover cop, and he was in the really those gangs, when the football hooligan gangs were around. It's a cult movie. I think it's on YouTube. But he's 4:00 on Saturday. If you don't follow us already, 4:00 on Saturday. I've got a Frontline Chat YouTube channel. Just go into Twitter, social media, hashtag Frontline Chat like that, and you will see us. Ladies and gentlemen, and anyone else who wants to call yourself anything in there, that's absolutely fine with me. But it's been emotional. I've enjoyed today. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week, shall I? Should we see you next week? I can't wait to see you next week. Yeah, see you Saturday. See you next week. And we'll go from there. Stay safe out there and wear your sun lotion, guys.